When I first started this challenge, I had no clue I would be juggling after a League of Legends session. Why? Because ProGuide says that this particular activity will help me improve my mechanics. For those unfamiliar, ProGuides is a site where you pay $9.99 a month for courses made by pro players to help you get better at League. Little did I know, throughout the next week, I was about to dive into one of the most unconventional, supposedly science-backed routines to improve at League with one single goal: to rank up to gold. Day 1 starts off with something I honestly didn't expect to care about. A section called Optimizing Your Performance. I clicked it thinking it would be the usual generic stuff, but pretty quickly realized this is something I can turn into a routine. The first thing it tells me to do is practice mindfulness.
So we are about to head into our first session of practicing mindfulness, which is apparently going to help me with errors in game as well as making more aggressive plays, as the coach said in Pro Guides. So what I'm going to do is basically I'm just gonna search up a video guide on YouTube and I'm just gonna follow it to the end.
So now I'm sitting in my chair breathing like I'm in a yoga retreat, trying to become one with the universe so I can outplay silver players. Apparently, after about 3 to 6 hours of total meditation time, you're supposed to start noticing results.
Okay, so I just finished my first session of practicing mindfulness. I do feel a little bit more relaxed, but I think that is basically it.
When I finished, I watched this course by Pole Belter. And that's when I discovered something that silver players treat like an optional side quest: control wards. Pole Belter talks about them like they're sacred relics that allow you to roam like a ghost. He also mentioned sweepers, so I set a simple goal for day 1. Buy at least one control ward and get a sweeper after level 8. I'm starting at silver 4 ATLP and we'll see what level of psychological damage or improvement I end up by the end of this challenge. My first game is against the Tristana. I play for my level up timer, get a good trade, and I'm feeling great. But then level 3 hits, and I fail to keep track of Tristana's level up timer, leading to an absolutely devastating interaction.
Oh, fuck me, bro.
I barely escape with 1 HP and a dream. Then, out of nowhere, she jumps on me again and dies instantly, because apparently she has no idea what my W does. For some reason, she goes in again. And at this point, I'm starting to think she's actually brain damaged.
You're brain dead.
Then she disappears from vision. I assume nothing will happen, so I collect the wave, and then Varus dies. Sion dies. And then Udyr dies.
That's ridiculous. Why would you still go and fight that? Hello?
Now I am just fucking losing my shit right now. And just when I think it can't get worse, it happens again.
Oh my god, this Varus, bro. What the fuck? What the fuck? Whoa!
At this point, I'm still winning and still have lane prio, so I buy my sweeper and control ward, place it down, which does absolutely nothing. I think I put it in the wrong spot. I slowly realize Varus is the only one on the team who even owns a warding trinket. Sion is split pushing with the determination of a man who cannot read the minimap. The dude is not present in every single team fight ever. He's like the boss if he got dropped on his head as a baby. The worst part? Tristana ends the game with 24 kills. Are you fucking kidding me? I took the time to count the amount of times each player got killed by the Tristana. Sion dies 7 times to the Tristana. Udyr dies 9 times. And the Varus dies 7 times. How does it make sense that out of 24 kills, 23 of them are from these 3 goobers? The next game I get placed against the Kale, and honestly I begin to win so badly it feels like bullying. I'm not even doing anything crazy. I'm just landing my combo and she refuses to walk away from it. My plan with Kale was to basically freeze the wave on my side so she can't run back to her tower like a little bitch. But I end up getting so focused on this that I just completely forget to buy my control ward and sweeper. So I queue into the last game of the day feeling pretty good about myself. First thing I noticed, Iron Border Diana. I'm beginning to believe that this might be a free win, but there's just something a little unsettling about this player. So the game starts and I'm getting a few good trades in, but then level 2 hits and I completely forget about the ignite again.
Oh, I'm dead, bro.
So I get tilted, so I die again and again and again and again.
Never ganking bot again. Fuck bot, bro. Fuck that shit, man. I'm never ganking bot again. Good fucking luck, man. I'm just gonna farm, bro. Fuck that. I have to look at this guy's op.gg. This guy is not an iron player. This guy is not iron 1, dog. This dude is totally not a smurf. 100% win rate. Fuck this bitch, man. Fuck him.
So the session finishes, and the coach actually recommends 2 things. The first is to watch through your session, pick out 3 mistakes, replay that situation out in your mind, and do exactly what you would do now with your keyboard and mouse. These are the 3 situations I picked out. Clip number 1. I see Tristana go top. I push mid turret. I don't see Sona rotating. I die. Clip number 2. We go fight 3v3 with Baron. I fight with Udyr and Varus, but Udyr is 3 and 8, and our Varus is 4 and 7. We pick fight with people way stronger than us. We get cooked. And the last clip, Tristana goes missing. I don't ping that the Tristana goes missing. Tristana goes bot lane and 3 people get killed. After doing that, the course recommends you to juggle. I am being absolutely serious here.
So since I have absolutely 0 juggling experience, I'm gonna be learning how to juggle completely from scratch. The goal for today is to learn how to juggle with 2 balls.
The course recommends you to juggle 2 to 4 hours after your session. Apparently, this activity will promote blood flow to the area of the brain associated to learning. So here I am, standing in my room, learning to juggle to improve at League of Legends. But after about 10 minutes or so of juggling with 2 balls, I got pretty comfortable.
Okay, 10 in a row. I just did 10 in a row. Okay, I think I'm ready to move on to 3 now. So I'm gonna go to sleep, and we'll see you tomorrow.
On day 2, right before my session, I sat down for a quick 10-minute mindfulness practice. This time I didn't bother finding a special spot. I just stayed in my chair because it was convenient.
Okay, so I just finished my 2nd session of practicing mindfulness. I don't really notice much of a difference. I feel like my mind is way more peaceful, but I'm not sure if this will have any effect on my gameplay, but we're gonna find out soon because we're gonna head into some gameplay.
I still had to let the information from the previous day digest, so I went into the next set of games with the same goal as day 1, and my first game is against an Aurora. I have this very elaborate game plan playing out inside my head, but I decided to poke the bear once. I immediately regret it.
Fuck me, bro.
So I know not to do that again and wait out all her abilities.
She are level 2.
For some reason, she just blows all of her utility all in one go and still walks in the wave like she can part the Red Sea.
Oh my god, she's stupid. She's stupid. She's stupid. She's stupid. She's dumb. She's dumb.
And I'm really over here thinking that just 1 month ago, I was losing to these people. She hits 1 creep with her ability. She uses her W to engage. Obviously, I take advantage of that to get another kill. And a little bit after this play, I'm beginning to wonder if I'm even playing in silver. Pantheon jumps on me. He's level 4. He walks into my W, gets stunned by it, and uses Ignite when I'm over half HP.
What?
Then Aurora thinks it's a good idea staying in lane with no mana left. So naturally, I get the kill on her again. Then 15 minutes later, the team surrenders. Game 2 starts, and immediately I feel like the 100th guy stepping into the ring with the gorilla.
Bad.
I don't think I've ever played this well against an Azir. Every time he places down his Q, I go in. That ends up being able to get him crying under his tower.
Oh! You losing that cannon doesn't feel good, huh?
Which eventually leads to a kill. Now all is going well, until everything starts falling apart in the mid game. Our bot lane, with the combined IQ of an onion, decides it's a great idea to fight a Jinx who already has her first completed item. Then our Garen gets unlucky and is killed by our Nocturne.
Why did this Garen step back? Are you kidding?
Then we lose. I queue in for the 3rd game of the day, and the enemy team surrenders again. Right after, I decided to move on to VOD reviewing, and these are the 3 things I picked out. So one thing that I found out was that I tunneled way too much on killing the enemy, which ends up getting me killed a lot because I either don't ward or look at the map, which leads to issue number 2, where I take a lot of fights with my ult on cooldown, which gets me killed a lot because I either have no get out of jail free card or I don't do enough damage. And issue number 3, I am not exactly aware of the state of my jungler. Like in this situation, the Briar is low and then dies, but I still go ahead and fight even though the Drake is probably impossible to secure, which ends up causing me to miss my opportunity to either roam to top lane or secure the kill on the Azir. After that was done, I went back to juggling.
Okay, so we are at day 2 right now, and I think my goal for today is to just get the motions down for like the juggling with 3 balls. So I think my goal is to get the juggling down for like 10 throws, and if I can do that, then I'll go to sleep. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, but I'm not gonna go to sleep until I get this down.
Juggling with 3 balls was a completely different experience. It was so much harder, and for the first 8 or so minutes, I was not making any progress. My balls were going off in random directions, and I just failed so many times trying to get my 5th throw, and after some more time failing, I was actually getting mad.
This is so hard, man. This is so hard, bro. I can't do this, man. Why am I even doing this?
Now this continues on for the next 20 minutes, and I honestly did not expect this activity to get physically taxing, but I actually began to sweat. At this point, I was beginning to get stuck on one specific number.
7, bro.
But then, all of a sudden, something just clicked, and I hit this.
Okay, let's go to sleep. Let's go. Holy shit, man.
At this point, I had finished all the courses provided by the pros, which meant I could move on to the courses made by pro guides. I watched this early game fundamentals course, but while I was scrolling through the list of videos, I realized that most of these videos have already been covered by the pro course, or it's already stuff that I already know. There are 3 videos on what items you should get, and they mentioned the corrupting potion, which has been removed from the game. And after I did some research, I realized that Pro Guides has shut down for a year and a half now. But I knew there was still something to learn. I found out what clumping was, which was basically grouping up as a team in a bush to defend and evade. But aside from that, everything else was something I already knew. So I decided to go back to the basics and improve my warding and leading. After that, I did my mindfulness session, and this time I actually started noticing a bit of a difference. Okay, so I just finished my 3rd session of meditation, and I think I noticed 2 main things. The first is that my thoughts are actually not drifting off anymore like the previous 2 sessions. And the second thing I noticed was that this session went by extremely quickly. Once again, I don't know if this is going to make any changes in my gameplay, so we're gonna find that out right now and go into some games. I was honestly expecting that improvement to show up in game as well, so I was pretty excited to hop into ranked. I don't know what was wrong with me today, but I was not in the right state of mind. I completely mistook the enemy jungler for my own jungler and got myself killed.
Whoa! The vegan was not on my team!
Then I proceeded to die in a bunch of stupid situations. I didn't really feel any noticeable effect from the mindfulness training, which was disappointing, but I'm only halfway through the challenge. But as the game went on, things got worse, and I get hit with massive stuttering issues. So instead of showing that mess, I jumped straight into a VOD review. Clip number 1. So the 2 big things I learned here was to only trade with my full combo up, and to stop trading when I'm lower HP, which ends up getting me killed in this case. And clip number 2. Veigar gets collapsed on, and my first instinct is to back off because, well, there's 3 people on him. But then I notice a Pantheon and Jarvan moving in to help. Even then, I still think it's a coin flip fight, so I keep backing away. What I don't realize is that we're actually slightly stronger than them. We have a 1 level advantage, but because I hesitate and rotate back too late, we end up losing the fight. This really showed me that I need to keep a mental track of who's strong and who's weak throughout the game, not just the numbers advantage. After the session, I practiced juggling for about 45 minutes. I didn't really make much progress, but I can juggle around 10 throws pretty consistently now, so that's something. Then I went to bed hoping the next day would be better. On day 4, I watched this course on split pushing. I thought watching this was going to be a good idea because Echo has pretty good wave clear. This was when the course kind of began to piss me off. Every single video is under 2 minutes long. They could have just put everything into one video, but instead, they decided to split that up into 26 videos just to make it sound like a course. For some reason, my mindfulness session today felt like an ADHD screening. You have no clue how hard I was trying not to make my thoughts wander or just fall asleep on the spot, but eventually when that finished, I went on to my first set of ranked games. I was honestly feeling pretty tired, probably due to the lack of sleep the previous day, and that honestly made me play by far the worst since the start of this challenge. I break each and every rule I thought I had reviewed in the past 4 days. I run back to the Ari after I use all my abilities. I trade even though I have 1/3 of my health left. I continue to fight even though I had just used my ult. The only reason I end up winning is because our Briar and Jhin carries the fuck out of this game. Then I get autofill support, which I end up losing. Which brings us to our third game. Honestly, I am losing the entire time until Malphite ganks me twice, which ends up helping me win my lane. Bot lane also wins, which ends up making the enemy bot lane AFK, and then the team surrenders. I'm beginning to think that I got lucky enough today, and then I got placed against the Galio mid. I actually end up neutralizing the matchup pretty well, but somehow, our team takes a 4v3 over at Grubs and loses. Then it all just goes downhill from there. The team takes a 3v4 fight at Dragon. I managed to salvage 2 kills, which eventually turns into 3. I believe I played this game quite well, but unfortunately, that ends up not being enough and we lose the game, which felt honestly quite devastating. I went into day 5 feeling pretty hopeful about climbing. I did my meditation, got my mind in the right place, and set a clear focus for the day. Tempo. Specifically, I wanted to work on making sure my wave was shoved whenever a neutral objective was spawned, backing early, sinking the wave, and forcing the enemy to catch farm while the objective comes up. In theory, clean and simple. But there was one problem I didn't really consider until my first game. Tempo only matters when your team is even or winning. In that game, my Kai'Sa dies 6 times in the first 11 minutes. Every lane was losing, except mine. So suddenly, all the neat theory crafting I wanted to practice felt irrelevant. Then the next game starts. I finally get lane prio when dragon spawns. Perfect. But no one even thinks about getting dragon until 10 minutes in. And then the enemy steals it anyway. At that point, I felt something sink in my chest. Nothing was going right. Not mechanically, not mentally, not macro-wise, not with my team. I wanted to shift blame and just chalk it up to bad teammates. But when I watched the VOD, it honestly made me feel worse. Because I realized I did have opportunities to play better. Big mistakes. Timestamp after timestamp. Issue after issue. It felt like getting punched in the ego. I wasn't performing badly, but I wasn't playing cleanly enough to carry the chaos around me. Then in the next game, I lane into another Akali. I actually play it pretty well, but again, no one touches Dragon until we discover Jax is soloing it. Watching this back, I noticed another problem. I should have based when Tryndamere based. Instead, I stayed for one more wave, completely desyncing my tempo, showing up late to the fight and losing us the objective. At this point, my sanity was already hanging by a thread. Then I pressed tab, and once again, every lane was losing. Something in me just broke after that. For the first time ever, I genuinely started running it down, just sprinting at the enemy with zero care for what happened, and dying over and over. Reviewing this VOD did not make me feel good. If anything, it hurt to watch back, because it felt like the whole day was slipping away from me. It felt like I deserved better teammates. Like I was old teammates who weren't inting their faces off when I played clean. But deep down, I knew that wasn't realistic. The only factor I could control in all of this was myself. The moment I had this revelation, I knew that this could have had something to do with all the mindfulness training that I did. Before I went on this challenge, if there was a particular teammate doing badly, I would automatically shift all the blame onto them and treat it as if I made zero mistakes. But looking back at my replays, I realized that I still made a lot of mistakes that might have changed the outcome of the game. So I put my ego aside and wrote down 3 things I actually learned from this session. Number 1, I need to communicate more. If my team isn't doing dragon, it's on me to ping it, call it, and guide them towards the right play. Number 2, I need to sync my tempo with my jungler. If he bases, I base. If he's pathing towards objectives, I should already be prepping the wave and being prepared to roam. And number 3, I need to track enemy CC and use my R proactively. Now, you might think that after everything I went through, things would start getting better. But yeah, no, not even close. Somehow, I always find a way to make the worst call imaginable. In this situation, Mel and Volibear are on grubs. And I noticed that Malphite and Gwen are fisting each other top lane. But what I don't notice is that Malphite has already died twice. So, the correct call would be to let them take the objective and farm. My call? Fight those bitches! Which ends up losing us the fight, and they end up getting the objective anyway. And I just keep making the same mistake again and again and again until it loses us the entire game. It was also at this point when I realized that VOD reviewing is probably the most helpful thing. If I didn't review this moment or any of my previous games, I would have continued to make the wrong play even if I knew how tempo worked. Because just like tempo, no single concept is some magic key to winning fights. You can know everything in theory and still miss one thing, which completely leads to your loss. Next match, I faced my first ever Cho'Gath. I'm already tilted, but the universe decides to make it worse. Talon is hiding in a bush for absolutely no reason. Why the fuck is he there? I'm full HP. There is 0 shot he kills me. But somehow, everything lines up for Cho'Gath's broken execute, and I die anyway, which ends up spiraling out of hand, and after losing that game as well, I just decided to end it there. I have never been so mad at myself, so I didn't juggle after my session because I just didn't see a point. I still got hit by every single skill shot, and it was honestly beginning to feel like a waste of time. So it's the last day. I'm mentally exhausted, borderline depressed from everything that's happened. I don't know if anything will get better, but I do the routine one last time. Honestly, I haven't noticed some magical gameplay transformation from the meditating or juggling, but I do feel like I'm playing better, which is confusing because I'm also losing everything. Since there are so many things for me to focus on right now, I just need to fix all of these issues. And game 1 starts off with being autofilled as support. Great, but then someone dodges, and I begin to get all excited and shit, until I get autofilled support again. Now this could have happened at any point in this challenge, and the one time it happens is when I'm on a 6-game losing streak. I'm thinking we kind of lost the game, so I do something absolutely insane. I lock in Echo. Somehow, we win because Echo support might just be better than Echo mid. And in my next game, I get a Yasuo with an iron border. Last time I saw someone with an iron border, she was a Smurf. This game, I knew something was up when I literally began to miss every single cannon minion in this game. Maybe the juggling was useful after all. But this time, I knew I started playing better when I encountered the exact situation I reviewed. Top lane dies 3 times and our jungler decides to go grubs. So this time, I farm the wave and I don't fight that. And just like I expected, Zahin dies even before the Yasuo makes it to the grubs. But there were still so many moments where I get overwhelmed by the amount of things to do. Like right here when I just cleared the wave and decided to ward. But because of that, I didn't notice the Yasuo roaming, which ends up giving him 4 more kills. Unfortunately, we don't win that, so I queue into the last game of the day. For those of you who don't tune into the streams, Malzahar is one of those champions I hate going up against the most, even though he used to be my one trick. His lane is super uninteractive, And it was so incredibly hard to punish the champion because I did not want to sacrifice push to get a decent trade. Malzahar just has its way of making you more and more impatient until you mess up. So now I'm 2 deaths in, the score is 4-8, and the game is looking straight up unwinnable. But sometimes, one single play is enough to turn the tides of battle. I know the only way I can bring the game back now is to roam and look for picks. Coincidentally, I see Ashe pushed up far too much without her support, so I go for the roam. With hindsight, this was a coin flip play considering how I had walked over a ward, and only Pyke was there to help. But the play turned out quite well, helping us get the kill and securing Dragon. Eventually, I get another successful roam top, and with the help of our Viego, that is good enough to tilt the enemy and win the game. That officially brought the challenge to a close, and I ended up with the rank of Silver 4, 39 LP, which meant I have ended the challenge with a total loss. But I don't think that means I didn't improve. I learned a lot about what I need to work on, along with a change in mindset that I think will bring me a long way. However, this was not because I studied the courses by pro guides. Most of the videos on the site are under a minute long, which means it's an introduction to the concept at most. I had to do a lot of further research in order to understand how to apply them into my games. And I think you can pretty much find everything on YouTube here. Remember, this is a subscription for $10 a month. You can hire a coach for $10 and you would get the information you actually need to improve. This isn't a scientific study, so I might just be talking out of my fucking ass. But in the end, this is what I've noticed. And I genuinely think this has led to the biggest change in how I think since I started playing the game. And honestly, I'm excited to see where this takes me.